Hey everybody, welcome to Golden Guys. Sorry we're a little bit late. We were talking a little bit about what's else going on this channel, so we should make sure we didn't want to laugh. Hey everybody, welcome to Golden Guys. Sorry we're a little bit late. Rookie, nice. That's else. We're waiting. We don't know 100% sure if Knights of Old is joining us. Not 100% sure. He's busy. Work's kind of doing something, so let's not go into that too much. But I do have my Estelle and Sophie, my Room McClanahan.
Two of the other ones.
Two of the other ones, yeah. So, Paul, good to have you. How's things going?
Pretty good. Work's crazy, but got to be here for the Golden Guys.
There you go. All right. DS Comics, what's going on in your world?
I'm good. Just trying to sell some books, trying to buy some books, and the thing I'm planning ahead for is Baltimore Comic Con. I try to plan ahead early for these big events, and I don't go to many of them, and that's in middle of October, so I got enough time. So that's pretty much everything I'm doing is working towards that.
Perfect. Good time. Yeah, I'm starting to pack up some books and get ready to start making some sales and some deals on a bunch. Definitely getting ready for Baltimore as well. So I'll grab a sip of beer here for everybody. So tonight, I want to welcome these two guys joined the CGC boards. And we were talking about that experience. How's it been since, they started reenacting it? It is what it is. But, overall, the boards have a lot of other information besides the buy-sell trade stuff. There's a lot of other information on the boards, a lot of just fan stuff. If you want to know who did what, there's information like that. There's speculation groups, there's every kind of groups. But the one thing about the Golden Age stuff is there's so many clicks in there. And when you get into the click, they are all clicks, and it's pretty fun. But I like the little click that I'm in, but it's with some guys that are out there. It's, the guys that we're kind of like the funny fucks, but we're just making fun of other people while we're doing our own thing. So you got this classic guy who knows everything. That's a great character. So what do you guys think about the boards now that you're on it?
Well, I'll tell you my thoughts on it. It is as frustrating and terrible as I thought it was. So honestly, it's like I told Rick on the boards, you guys know what I'm talking about. I told him, he messaged me when I posted my first post, and he's like, "Is that yours?" And I say, "Yeah." And he gave me some pointers, or told me what I was doing wrong essentially. And I told him that I felt like I fell through a time warp and landed in 1995 with message boards and dialing up to bulletin boards, and it's like that thing is like frozen in time, and I feel like I'm in 1995 message boards scrolling, and it's just, I'm not a tech guy, but I'm 20 to 25 years removed from a certain tech. I feel like it's gonna take a lot of to, I'll be honest, because it's just it's like a message board from 95. That's all I can say. It's frustrating. There's so many rules on it too. Like the rules are the
rules are run by the moderators, and they've been somewhat better recently than they used to be. They used to just knock you down right away. They still do, but they don't remove your posts right away. Sometimes they give you put this on there, put that on there. They should just remove your first post and say, learn how to post, get off the street, that kind of bullshit. But the one thing is that it is frustrating because, I enjoy when I can buy some, because the sheer volume that's out there on those boards at any given time, when a guy's dumping a big load of books out there, they tend to be some of the first places a lot of the bigger guys go. If you ever go to any of the cons, and those big dealers, they all have accounts with them. So they watch the boards and they talk about it. And, when Gator's going to sell his big thing, he's going to let everybody know October's going to do his thing. Everybody but the guy Lee, he won't be on. He doesn't sell on the boards, but they all do. And it's pretty fun as far as the volume goes. But when you're selling on there, I run through problems. You never get what you want right off the bat. It's worse than eBay with that. But everybody comes at you with there, and then you say offer is negotiable. And other times you put something out there and it goes right away, and you knew you were out. You undercut it. So
Yeah, I've got 2 books out there. I put my Black Cat Mystery 50 on there.
I'm sure
Along with
people ask about that.
yeah, and a 6.0 LB Cole Blue Bolt, which is pretty tough to find. I threw them both out there at, not super high price. They're reasonable, but they're high. They're like anybody else. I know I have room to work down, and I put where best offer. I
Right.
hear there's serious buyers on there on the board, so I'm like, I'll try these books. Yeah, I mean, I really haven't. Nobody's showed much interest yet. I've got 1 offer on the Black Cat, 2 offers. One was really low, and one was getting there, but I haven't heard back from either of them. And it might just be because I'm new, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and see if I can sell something on there and see how it goes. Because I'm gonna throw my Black Cat on eBay. It's just too big a book. I'm not trying to deal with eBay at all for that. So I'd rather do a private sale. So we'll see how it goes.
I've kind of been lurking for a while because every time I mention the CGC boards to anybody before now, they're like, "Be careful, man! One misstep and they'll eat you alive." And I've seen it. I've seen it happen to people where they just tear them apart. But I mean, there are so many clicks there, like you said, and there are so many convoluted rules that it does you well to watch for a while before you start posting.
Yeah. The one thing I do say, it's safer than people think, because the registered numbers literally, a lot of people change the registration numbers. They talk behind the scenes. They do a lot of buying and selling on there. The communications are there. If you're on the bad list, everybody helps you get your restitution. Yeah. There's not many bad apples on there. There's bad speculators that nobody cares about. There's no rules about that. But there's other things. But as far as the golden age dealers and stuff that you see out there, the volume of stuff, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. There's always something out there. To me, it's not like there's a few I've missed here and there. Like, I get a message and they're like, "Hey, what about you on this?" I'm like, not really interested.
My first day, I pointed out a book to you and said, "Hey, do you got that one?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get that. Especially if it's an elephant cover, or some people know the vampire covers or something like that. So, but anyway, more about buying and selling on the boards. My personal experience in the golden age stuff is I used it as information first before I bought any golden age on those boards. I used those boards primarily originally for my silver age and bronze age, and a lot of my collection did come from those boards. My golden age, a lot of it has come from that boards, but that was well after buying from other places, because I didn't really know how the golden age dealers worked or how their pricing was going to be versus what I could possibly find somewhere. Sure enough, I found out that they were either really good and I was getting great deals, or way obscure, and I would still sell that book to somebody else. I'm like, I would never pay for that much for that book ever. And somebody else did pay $700 for a book, and I'm like, you can get it for $100 if you look hard enough. But that's one of the things I do like about the boards was, but it took me a while to watch and watch from these, because they are dicks. Everybody else could knock you down. I mean, trust me, you think it's bad, watch anything that's out there between guys on on the Moderns Heating Up or anything heating up on eBay. Just watching that stuff, you just want to just get in there. It's a soap opera all the time. If someone's wrong about speculation, it just kill them. You don't know. It's like Nostradamus has to be right.
Yeah, that's part of why it's like the old message boards. That was where people went to argue all the time. When it first started, was on message boards, was where people just argued about stuff. But the prices, I've looked on the boards more recently in the last 6 months or so. Golden age prices are, like you said, either they're sky high or they're good deals. It's a problem with the market because there's not a lot of books out there of a particular issue, and it's tough to gauge how much it's worth. It's really like, even if you're really into it, it's tough to gauge what a book is worth because there's not a lot to compare it to. You sort of have to wing it and use your gut and be sort of familiar with it. But most of the books I get, and this is not going to change even now that I'm trying to give the boards a shot, is from eBay. honestly, eBay has the most books available of anywhere. And
Of course. Yeah.
Comic Link and Comic Connect. I don't use Heritage so much because I don't like that 20% buyer premium that they have on both sides of it.
I've never used them. No.
You know, if you're just trying to buy for your collection, eBay and Comic Link for Golden Age is pretty much all you need. I haven't seen anything groundbreaking on the boards since I've been looking in the last 6 months or so. I mean, it's all stuff. All of it's hard to find. There's nothing on there that's like so spectacular that you can't find at other places. So I don't know. I think that it's doesn't. I don't think it's it's not increasing the selection of books. Like now there's a whole bunch of new Golden books I can find to buy. It's sort of the same stuff I see other places. So I think what I hear is there's more serious buyers on there. So I'm going to try to sell some books on there, but I don't anticipate that I'll be going on there very often to buy because it's much easier to look at a Comic Link or Comic Connect auction or search eBay or go on Instagram than to scroll through message boards and try to keep reloading when I'm at work, the message board and see who's got new posts or, somebody's like, I'm posting a bunch of new books at noon on Friday. Man, I'm not available noon on Friday. So, I mean, anything hot that I might want probably going to be gone, or I'll have to scroll through 12 pages of people putting little emojis like, oh, awesome book, before I can find what I'm looking for. It's not a place I anticipate buying a lot from, but I'm going to try to sell on there. So
pretty cool.
And you mentioned the prices and how they're either good or bad. I mean, that's kind of par for the course with Golden Age in general.
Right.
I mean, because
I think I would say, I think what I meant to say was when I see a sale going on, it garners my attention more than anything else.
Yep. Like that $700 book that you think is overpriced. Say it's the last elephant book a guy needs to finish his collection. He's been looking for 10 years. He's going to pay that $700.
Call that the Gadsden rule. There's the Gadsden purchase rule. They call that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my reason why I'm not going to overpay for a particular book, even if it's rare, because until that's the last book on my want list, I can wait. There's plenty of it. Even if I don't ever find that book again for 5 years, there's plenty of other books to look for. So you can be patient in Golden Age, and you might not get that one target book real soon. But man, put together a target list of 20 books, and you will have more books than you can afford. Generally, is how my experience is. I got like 20 books on my target list. I have to pass up on my target list books when they come up because I don't have enough money to get them all. So there's plenty of Golden Age books, no matter how rare they are to get.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to shout out the chat here. We got the Immortal Biggie Shack came in. That's great. Got Caleb, Comic Smurf Murph. Good having him here. Bonafide Comic. Very, very cool to have you here. TJ Slabdragon Watson, the good man here. Mortal Biggie Shack again. I said was here. Perry Comics. Always great having you here. We also got a Mr. Gretzky. One on there. Marvel Hunter, Chris Barrett, Mastodon, Chris Barrett. By the way, Donnie put out a nice little tidbit video today. It was good. We got here Comic Books NYC. Good seeing you. We've got C. Woodard, Newsstand. Good having him. Steve Oates. Good seeing you here. DS, thanks for participating. Well, you can do so much there. Who Dat? Good having you here, my good friend. He was just on a beautiful vacation down there. Good having him back. I hope everybody had a great and safe 4th of July, by the way. Evan, great having him here as well. Hope I'm not missing anybody. So far, so good. Bonafide, more good. Thomas Wayne, good having him here. Very nice. And then there we go. Okay, so let's
there was one other thing about the boards I wanted to mention. And it's not really a complaint because, this has been ongoing for 20-something years. They have their rules. It runs good. It's efficient, whatever. I'm new to it. I will abide by the rules. There's some I'll agree with, but it's, who might not agree with the rule on the boards. But I think apparently somebody pointed out to me, if you have something for sale on the boards, you can't have it for sale anywhere else, like eBay or Instagram or something.
Correct. At the same moment. Yeah.
I don't like that because I like to be able to market my book to as many potential sellers as possible. And some people only go on eBay. Some people only go on the Comic Link. Some people are on Instagram a lot. Some people are on the boards. I would like to be able to put it out there to all of them. And if you can't sell it anywhere else. So I'll see how it goes, but I can't imagine I'm going to keep too many books limited to the boards as so many other selling venues. So I don't know.
And understand the rules are for all eras, all types of books, CGCs, and that is much more of a factor in the modern slabbed book market than it is anywhere else, because what happens all the time is the take bots get going, take up all of them they can, and the next thing you know is up, that guy backed out of his deal, or he can't finish this obligation or something else that's there. Problem is that rule shouldn't necessarily apply to a book where it's a limited selection of people are going to actually be searching for that kind of book.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a high-end, Black Cat Mystery 50 in a 7.0, that's not a small book. I'm trying to reach as many potential buyers as possible. So I've chosen not to go to eBay, but I would still like to throw it out on Instagram. I'm considering sending it to Comic Link and doing an assignment and or an auction there with it. I probably will bring it to Baltimore if I still have it, but by having it for sale on the boards, I can't put it out in these other places right now. So it's fine. I'm going to try that out. And, to be fair, it's not, I'm a newcomer to that, so that's fine. And I have gotten 2 offers. One is pretty close. I mean, if the guy responds to me, I think we will have a deal. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, that's a big book, so I want to try to reach as many potential serious buyers as possible with that book. We'll see how it goes.
I want you to, I wish you. I mean, I've had some good luck on there selling for other people on there as well as myself. But I've got a lot of posts. I've been doing it for a while, and a lot of times that does come into play. If you've been doing it for a long time and there are people that follow me, people follow different sellers. And once the seller posts, you get a message saying, Rick's put something out there again. Like Rick's on there, there's Chai Socks, there's a bunch of people out there that specialize in what I like to, I keep an eye on a few sellers that I know I've dealt with before, and vice versa. They have bought from me as well. And when I get posts, I always get a guy saying, we'll buy from again. And one guy likes making deals for like 5 or 6 different books at a time,
Hopefully somebody will if somebody buys my Black Cat off me on the boards, I'll have a whole new view of the boards. I'll all of a sudden
next episode you'll be like, this is the greatest place to sell books ever.
Right, because I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to selling that to somebody and not having to pay a 10% eBay fee or Comic Link fee or Comic Connect fee. Also they don't allow PayPal friends and family.
No, they do not.
That should be the buyer. I don't know why.
It protects both sides. That was the issue. There was a time that was going on, where friends and family was going on. I mean, you could do it behind the scenes, friends and family.
Yeah, you can't in a post mention that you'll take friends and family, but I'm sure people are making deals, especially with people they've dealt with before.
I do that for anybody who buys books on layaway or does layaway deals. We often do the first one would be the taxed one, the 3% one. Every subsequent payment after that has to be friends and family. And that's what it is.
I don't mind if I have to pay a 3% PayPal fee, that's fine. But I'm not trying to pay a 10% eBay fee on a book that's like, a $10,000 book. I'm
right. Right. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that, like, layaway is one of those things that if you work with a guy there, I mean, there's some dealers out there that we have done deals where they've talked about it. These guys have done 6.0 AF-15 swapping for amazing, like 3 or 4 other books that are just top notch. And there are layaways that these guys do that we all know about behind the scenes, and when they're going to start selling books because they're like, payment's coming, $10,000 payments coming on that book. So you get a bunch of deals out there, and that's something always fun. Let me see what some of here goes. Yeah, there's one of the things we should probably talk about here is fees when buying books, especially the Golden Age, because the Golden Age, we talked about eBay, though everybody pays the same thing there. I do think a lot of times when you're buying on the auction sites, some of the fees, the hidden fees, I know we just mentioned Heritage. What are the fees with Heritage auction? How high are they now?
Heritage, all right, so Heritage has quite a little deal going for themselves, but they're a major auction house, so
yeah, they are.
Away with it. But they charge, if you give something to them to sell on auction, they charge you 20%. So if you sell something for $1,000, they take 200 and you get 800.
Okay.
The person who buys it for 1,000, they charge 20%, and that
Right.
person pays 1,200. So on a $1,000 book, Heritage is making $400. So they're
Correct.
making 40% for themselves on every sale. That is sky high. That might be okay for like Sotheby's auctions or fine art or jewelry, but comic book market generally, you know, it's 10%, man. It's Comic Link, Comic Connect. It's 10% when you're in comics. So Heritage is charging twice that on both ends, and you know
That's
they
because Heritage is trying to place themselves like a Sotheby's or.
Yeah, well, I mean, they get a lot of good stuff, but honestly, when you know they auction more than just comics. Comic Link is just comics. Comic Connect is just comics. Heritage has, you know, they auction everything.
Yeah, they do the sports one,
Stuff or anything.
sports. Yeah, I remember going way back. This was back in the 90s down there to Dallas and an auction down there. It was sports memorabilia and comic books were together. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah, that is,
Yeah, I remember going there. It was in Dallas. I forget what we were doing down there. It was some broad. Anyway,
that's what I like about Comic Link. If you want to sell, I've sold stuff on Comic Link auctions before. You can send them one book worth $50. You can send them $20,000 worth of books. You can send moderns, Silver Age, whatever. If you send to Heritage, they will not even take your lot unless it's a $5,000 minimum value of the lot. And you know, that's good if you have a major collection or a big lot you want to sell or something. But for people that are like us that are in Golden Age and we're buying and selling back and forth all the time, I don't generally have $5,000 lots all the time I want to sell. I might have a few thousand. You know, Comic Link will take whatever. I think the last time I sent stuff to them, it was like $1,200 worth of books. So obviously Heritage wouldn't take it, but Comic Link will take whatever. They don't care.
Comic Link does a great job, and I've done both on Comic Link. I've sold on Comic Link because I did hand them books. I wasn't sure. I bought a collection one time, and I really wasn't sure about a lot of the DC stuff. That was during the time when I was much more Marvel, and I didn't really know much about it. And I just handed it to them, and they created a bunch of good stuff, and they graded it all, and they got me a fair deal, I thought, on that everything. I mean, they their thing, but I didn't know what I didn't want to waste time. I wanted that. I wanted the credit on the account because I was buying a big boy book.
Yeah.
And I needed
Comic Link will give you credit on their account if you want to buy something in one of their auctions. You can buy the seller credit. They will also do cash advances. They'll advance you like 50% of the estimated value of the lot you send to them in cash.
Yeah.
And for 10% fee, it's worth it because basically you ship the books to them, and then they handle the selling, the marketing, the packing, the shipping, the customer complaints, the calls. They handle everything. You just send them the books, and then you wait and you get a check. Really a good deal, you know, for 10%. That's what you get on eBay, and you have to deal with all the eBay problems. Which
you do it yourself.
And then you got to pack and ship yourself, and it's a headache. So for the same fee you're being charged, you don't have any of the headaches. And they've become, in my opinion, the top Golden Age auction site. There's the best selection of Golden Age is on Comic Link. It was Heritage for the longest time. Comic Connect and Comic Link were vying for space in there, and they both have really come to the forefront. Comic Link more so. I just think they're getting better stuff.
Comic Connect is there, but
customer service. I think Comic Link is a more polished site and company than Comic Connect. But Comic Connect is not, you know, its own thing. It's being run by Metropolis.
well, I was going to say, there's no great deals on Comic Connect like there are on Comic Link.
Yeah.
I find Comic Link a lot easier to navigate and find what I'm looking for too.
And now Comic Connect
watch list where you could click on books to watch like Comic Connect does. You click the box and you add it to your watch list. They don't have that.
Now, what you do is you got to bid on it, some ridiculous bid to do it.
Yeah, but if you don't get to it in the first 2 days and you want to go just watch an AF-15 and a 5.0 and you just want to add to your watch list, if you forget about it for 3 days into the auction, now you got to bid 30 grand to get it to add to your list. You know, you can't bid the dollar anymore. So I try to get on there as soon as it opens and just put $1 on everything.
Did you say he did that with a book not too long ago, where you bid like $5 grand or something on it?
No, I bid more than that. I bid on an AF-15. It was like a 7.5, and I wanted to watch it, so I bid like 25 grand or something on it. I can't. It was a lot, but I mean, obviously, it's going to sell way more than that.
Yeah.
I bid on one this past auction. I bid like 775 on a book to watch it, and I didn't get it until day 2. And after I bid to add it to my watch list, then I realized I had slightly brittle pages, and I realized that I might now be on the hook because I might actually win it. It only sold for like $925, so that was a little dicey. I didn't want to win it after I saw that.
You got to make sure you read the full description before you place that bid.
I don't think I've won anything. I double checked. I got outbid on something pretty good, but one I was close. But you know what? I had my limit, and I walk away. That's the other thing. I've been walking away. So a few more people have joined us in the chat here at the 9:30 market. We've got Kachun. Good having him here. We've got Count Bond Strange. We've got Just a Rican. Great having him here as well. So we're excited. Now, when we go over everything you've got about the fees and everything else when you're hunting for gold books, nothing beats the con. I'm going to tell you that right now. Nothing beats a con. But there are times when, when you're online and you're buying and there's an auction going on or something going on in the CGC boards, and you want to keep it quiet, yeah. And what happens is that you see something out there, and you think you're the only one that's out there. Says, oh, I'm going to find this thing. This it's an eBay guy that spelt it wrong, or like something on the boards where it's a good deal, and you just put out there. That used to happen a lot more often. Now it's not. Everybody's on their game now. I just think everybody's better now than they have been. So where's Knights? He's busting balls.
He's in the chat.
Busting balls. Look at this guy.
He's in the chat.
You can come in here if you want.
Hey, so I got an email from another auction site that I wasn't familiar with, and it was just like spam, but I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I have it here. I was wondering if I've heard of this. There's a couple others like Hakes Auction and other stuff.
Hakes, there's Diggs.
This one was
My Comic Shop.
I've got about 15 listed in my
Oh,
and My Comic Shop. Yeah, you mentioned them. They do their weekly auction.
Mark's Comics. Have you ever all heard of this?
Nope. I mean, pedigree because he's just ridiculous, but no. Oh, never seen that.
Me neither. I mean, I'm not going to go bid on an auction site I never heard of, but I mean,
oh, you still at work.
Got AF-15 and 3.0 on that auction at the time. That was ending in 24 hours. And I went and looked, and the last time I looked, the bid was at like 12 grand. So, I mean, it looked like there was quite a few people bidding. I just never heard of Mark's Comics. I don't know. There's a lot of shady stuff out there on the internet, so I generally don't go anywhere that I'm not familiar with. But I'm going to look into Mark's Comics. Anybody else wants to check it out? It might be probably legit, but better safe than sorry.
Hey DS, Knights just mentioned in the chat. He said Comic Link takes like 10 years to pay you. You sold on there. What was your experience like?
All right, I think I'm a more patient collector than a lot of other people.
He's calling out Knights.
Once the auction closes, here's the deal. If you're selling a superhero book that starts with an A, like Action Comics 45, it'll end quick. You'll see what it sold for quick. There's several more days of auction items, and then there's original art. When all of the auction stuff is ended and the total auction has come to a close, about a month later, you will get the check.
It's all right.
A month and a week, or it's not more than 6 weeks. It's sort of, usually after the auctions close, they have a period of processing, and then once they process everything, it takes about a month. So I don't know how long the processing period is. So yeah, I mean, it's not fast, but it's not. I think it's all right.
I got the credit within a month.
Well, you can get a seller credit, or you can even get
you can take an advance
right away. You don't have to wait for all of it.
Yeah, you actually can get an advance. So.
Connect is a little slower with everything, and if you buy something on Connect, it won't even ship sometimes for a month.
Yeah.
I paid for that Mystery Comics 3, that Schoenberg robot cover I bought in this past auction. I paid on Monday, and I got it in the mail on Thursday. So it only took. They shipped it out
Comic Link or
Comic Link.
yeah,
The auction was still ongoing. I paid before the auction was ended because I wasn't going to bid on anything else.
that's a smart move.
Yeah, and Chris Barrett's asking the auction is about a week. I think the auction lasts about a week or a few more days, 7 to 10 days, because they do categories.
Yeah.
They do a bronze, they do a gold, then they have like a category, then they have original art. So it's spaced out over 7 to 10 days for everything. And they don't do it on weekends. It's not like Heritage. There's no week, the auction will go up till Friday. There's no bidding on Saturday, Sunday, and then it opens back up on Monday.
Yeah, like I'm looking at their auction close dates for the current one now, and it's like, which is already closing part of it. It's 6/27 is session 1, which is select key, high grade silver and bronze. Then session 2 is golden age comic books.
Yeah,
and then session 3 is all graded stuff, modern, bronze, copper. And then they have comics and other memorabilia. And then they usually have original art.
Yeah, so that'll pass over a weekend, and the weekend there won't be any action. So
well, like on that auction, the first stuff started closing on June 15th, and the final stuff closes today.
Yeah, so I mean that's almost 2 weeks.
Yep.
So yeah, and there's 2 weekends in there. So yeah, if you are selling something in that auction and yours is one of the first items to sell, they're not going to do anything to pay you until the entire auction's over. So it's another 10 to 12 days or whatever. Then from that point, it's about a month. So it is what it is. It's if you're sending books to CGC, everything else in this hobby is quicker than waiting on slabs to get back. Right?
I just sent 10 books out today. I'll let you know. Next time about 3 months probably.
Yeah. I called CGC today. I sent them a package, 2 packages, and I upload the tracking so I track it so I know when they signed for it.
Yep.
They signed for it at the post office and received it on June 28th. It still is not showing up in their system. So I called them and they're like, yeah, we're really busy. It's just taking a while to get through all the packages to get them up.
This is the worst time to send stuff to them.
I know, but I mean, it's almost 2 weeks and it's not even showing up on my submission status yet. So.
But they just announced that they were going to be better at this, and they've figured it out, and they've done a much better job. I will say this: their communication has been so much better than it ever has been.
Yeah,
we know this time of because I do it. I'm like, why am I sending it in June, July, or August? I just don't send books during that time. That's my accumulation time. Problem is that I usually don't. I feel like I wait too long to decide how I want to do the slabbing for the next year. I'm like, okay, what books do I want to get first? Then what do I want to get slabbed? And then what do I want to go back and forth. So now I'm like, got to rethink the whole method.
And Knights of Old is putting a comment in here about his walkthrough books. Looks like they've had his walkthrough books for 2 days, and so far nothing. If anyone is sending books to them in the walkthrough tier or the express tier, those are the 2 highest tiers, write WK and with a Sharpie on the outside of the package, or EX, so that they can see it's a walkthrough or an express package. They will open that first, because if you're sending a walkthrough, it's a 1-day turnaround. If you don't write if you write WK on the outside of the box, they will open it immediately and it'll get right in their system that day. But if you don't write that, they don't know which packages are walkthroughs and not, so it's just waiting with the rest. Walkthrough express, write WK or EX on the outside of the box. He says he did. So that just goes there. He marked it, and they're still 2 days in the And I didn't call him to complain. I just called to make sure the guy who signed for it was the right guy, and it's really, they have it, and they do have it, and they're backed up. So I'm fine with that. I don't mind waiting. I just wanted to make sure they had it, because 12 days is, a long time to wait for it to pop up on the system.
So let's there's a great little topic right now. Somebody wants to dip their toe into the golden age. There's so much stuff, you guys. You find your niche is one of the things we were talking about. if you don't know your niche, make a list of everything you like. Grab 20 covers that you like. If you find a theme in there, if it's a good girl art, she's got blonde hair and she's wearing jungle print, you like Sheena, man, no doubt about it. But if you're gonna go, if you like some blood and guts and everything else, you talk to DS Comics or anybody else like that. I mean, that's what you find your niche, you find out what you really like about it. To me, if it's artists, there are some that are just over the top right now, expensive, but it's the way it's gone. But it's just great. I mean, I'm all for you dipping your toe in there. So
yeah, how I got into Golden Age. I mean, I sort of knew I wanted to get into it, but I didn't really know anything about it, what books I liked. What I did at first, this was 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. I would just scroll through the items on Heritage auctions. I wasn't looking at any other ones at the time. The Heritage auctions, I would just scroll through. They have an auction every Sunday night, and I would just look and watch those auctions and see the books, and I sort of got a feel for what I liked, what I didn't, what the prices were, what was hot books. And that's sort of my initial research and exposure into Golden Age was just watching Heritage auctions, and you get a wide array of different type of Golden Age books by watching a Heritage or Comic Link auction. So if you think you like Golden Age, you're not sure what you like, look at those auctions, see what they're selling, get an idea of the type of stuff you like, the themes, the categories, the genres, and then you can go research it further. What I did further was my comic shop. You can go look at publishers or titles. You can look at all the pictures. You can look at the artists, the descriptions. They have links for census numbers, prices if they're available on there. So between like Heritage, Comic Link, Comic Connect, and like my comic shop, and then of course check out stuff on eBay. You can get a pretty good idea of what's out there in Golden Age and what you like, and pretty much start that way. I think that's a good way to sort of get exposed to Golden Age and see if it's something you want to get into.
Well, cool. Paul, you want to chime in a little bit on that one? What would you recommend for someone finding their niche, or what do you think, how to search for there? I mean, we got some Gerber books out there, but it might be a bit of an investment. But
yeah. I mean, first thing is go to cons and see what you like and just get a lay of the land. Check out eBay, go to the Golden Age section, Comic Link. It comes down to, are you a cover collector? Do you like to read them? Some people do. That's important. It's just like any other comic. You just got to find what you enjoy.
Yep. And that's the most important thing. Collect what you love and find what you love.
And that fits your budget.
Yeah. Fitting your budget. I mean, it's one thing if you could say, I really like Superman. Well, okay. Good luck.
Yeah. I'd like to put together a full run of More Fun Comics, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I think if there's affordable Golden Age out there.
absolutely.
The word affordable is relative. If you are currently a collector who's collecting a lot of modern stuff, going to the LCS on Wednesdays, and
Yeah.
all of the stuff's probably going to be more expensive than what you're used to. But if you're into Silver Age stuff, you'll find that transition to Golden Age piece of cake, because there's tons of stuff you can find for $1,000 or less. And if you're into Silver Age, that's a steal. And so it's sort of, the prices are sort of like a mix between silver and bronze. If you're into silver and bronze stuff, keys and whatnot, it's a very easy transition price-wise to Golden Age. And if you like Superman, there's so much Superman stuff out there that you just need to find where your price range fits. You're not going to get an Action 1 if you're not rich, obviously. But you can get some early Action Comics for under $1,000 in good mid-grade condition, and they're rock solid good Golden Age books. So I mean, just depends, and you've got to figure out a way to budget too. You got, what I have to do. I don't have a lot of money to work with, so I cut out all the small stuff years ago and only do Golden Age, and I buy far fewer books. I flip like crazy. I try to budget and save like crazy to try to maximize every dollar so that I can buy a book that's several $1,000, which would seemingly be above what I could afford. You can make it work if you're disciplined and you work at it.
Yeah, and give up the hope of 9.0 plus for the most part.
Yeah, and grade becomes relative at that point, and you find what you want.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Golden Age, my sweet spot is probably like 7.0 for lower value stuff, getting down to like 3.0 for keys.
Yeah, my favorite grade for Golden Age is a 4.0. I love getting a good looking 4.0 because that is the sweet spot for a lot of what I collect, where the high end collectors, the big dogs, it's too low to get their attention. But entry level, don't you want to go up sometimes that high? They've been the 2.0, 2.5 range. So you get into the 4.0, 4.5, it's a nice sweet spot of value for Golden Age books and stuff I collect.
And,
But yeah,
and 4.0, you can get some great cover appeal.
yeah, I mean, I have a lot of 2.5s. I mean, you get a presentable, complete, unrestored book that's awesome at a 2.5 for a decent price relative to what's out there.
Knights of Old says he's 1.0 to 3.0. That's because he collects timelies. They're 2,500 and 1.0.
So one of the guys says he was collecting. Mr. Gretzky put out there. He said he liked Action Comics. Said some Action Comics. He liked some Archies. I was saying Archie's one of those where you've got some mega books and you've got some amazing books at reasonable prices out there. And Archie's, if you go to the sub-series, some of the, the Betty Veronica, the Pep comics, some of the Jugheads and stuff, some of those tend to be, you can get some of the bigger ones or the ones that the more desirable ones there at reasonable prices compared to Silver books.
And the early Archies have some amazing GGA.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that the innuendos and Archies is probably, only like Sweethearts or Love Diaries, those romance books had more innuendos, and they were meant to be that way. They weren't meant towards children, They got Hedy Lamarr on the cover or something like that versus Hedley, but then they turn around and Archie's cut, it was. I can't keep beating these guys off. It's great. It's a great line,
Yeah, one area of Golden Age that I see a lot, and I look at it, and I still can't wrap my head around that market. I get why it's collectible, but for me, I can't tell if I came across somebody who's had a lot of these they wanted to sell, and they're like, "Do you want to buy these off me? I'm trying to move my collection. I'm getting older, whatever." And it was Archies and GGA stuff. Man, I'd be lost. I would have no idea what's good, what's not. I mean, I just cannot wrap my head around that. I don't know what makes a book good or not. I can't figure it out. Yeah. But they're popular, and then they're pricey, and they're sought after. And I don't know. I mean, some of the big ones like the Brenda Starr 14 or like Cinderella Love 25 or something, those are obvious. But the Archie stuff, some Archies seem more expensive than others, and I don't know what's the difference.
It's usually the innuendos. I mean, that's 90% of it is the innuendos. The GGA cover, how nice the headlights are. And Pep Comics had some great legendary dialogue in there. So it's just one of those big ones. One of the people like to talk about the war books. I agree with you on those.
There you go, JD, some old school Archie.
There you go.
And some of the DC version.
Now that original art of that stuff, Buzzy, yeah. The original art of that Archie run. Now, I'm not saying the stuff that came later on. I'm saying that stuff. The original art for that stuff is some of the most desirable in the market. It's ridiculous how much higher that is than any other books of that era. I mean, other than your superhero books, it's Archie. It's Archie from that era. Original art is very desirable. It's been pretty much standard, at every con there's been discoveries. Like every big con, there's been a discovery of Archie original art, and those people flock to those.
Archie collectors are very passionate.
They're a cult. They're a cult, man. I know Archie collectors. I mean, they're a sickness. There's fetishes and sicknesses, and Archies are cults, man. Archies.
They're the furries of the comic community.
Yeah, I get the four color. I do get the four color. I mean, you're never going to get all of them unless you like Don Rosa. But if you just go back to the real, true, like I like the DS is pretty cool. Yeah, he'd love to have a full run, but his runs aren't going to be $200. His runs are going to be 13, 11, 7, or that whole series, or 32, I guess would be the big ones. Chambers.
I mean, Chamber Chills is one of the longest pre-code horror
Yeah.
runs. It's 26 issues.
Yeah, 26. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I've got a full run of the thing, and that's only 17 issues.
How long was Witch's Tales? That was pretty long.
The Harvey stuff is longer. I mean, Chamber Chills is a Harvey. Witch's Tales, I think,
Because it went into the 30s. I thought it was.
Black Cat also, but they switched over from horror at a certain point.
Yeah, but yeah, Black Cat kind of. No, you get rid of the first when she was a superhero.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Beyond the Unknown with ACG, but that goes into postcode too. So,
well, the ACG is the one Golden Age publisher that just they didn't care if there was a code or not. They weren't stopping. They put out titles every month without fail, code or not code. They didn't care. They blasted through and just kept going. There's hundreds of issues.
I mean, 174 issues for Adventures of the Unknown, and that started in 48.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at
Adventures of
Forbidden
the
World.
Unknown. There's a book that's normally a lot of them are pretty cheap.
I love ACGs. I think it's
I love
tremendously
that.
undervalued too.
Yeah, ACG is very affordable Golden Age pre-code horror too. Most of those you can get pretty decent copies for around $100.
The crazy thing about ACG is they were, like you said, they put out books without fail every month. They were all written by essentially one guy.
TJ Slabdragon brought up the old Harveys like Casper and Hot Stuff. Yeah. There was Wendy the Good Little Bitch and Casper the Dead Baby. Richie Rich. Yeah, all those old Harveys. They are very collectible too. But again, I don't get those. But those people are another cult right there. Well brought up something. Do you agree that people who are okay selling and trading their books themselves seem to have an easier time sticking with the Golden Age? I would say that is a good. It's a thin connection, but it's a good connection. I think people that are willing to part with ways with their books is going to have an easier time in the Golden Age because there are Golden Age books that we have all bought and sold. You know, it's been in my collection, but that one I wanted more. I can get this if I get rid of this. You know, I haven't had to do too much of that in the Golden Age. A lot of times it's getting rid of bronze and modern to get silver and getting rid of silver to get gold, so to speak.
I'll tell you that I agree with what Knights is saying.
I agree with it.
Easier with your Golden Age to do that. But for me, it's not out of desire to sell books. It's out of necessity because when you get into Golden Age, go down that rabbit hole far enough, shit gets expensive. And the only way for mere mortals to get some of the books we want once we get into Golden Age is to sell other stuff we have that's worth the prices. Because trust me, I say this all the time. If I was a millionaire, I'd be buying everything and I would hardly sell anything. I would just buy up everything I liked and I would just keep buying. But you know, I'm trying to buy books that are in the $5,000 range. I don't have $5,000. I don't make enough for my job. I don't have money just laying around. The only way for me to raise $5,000 is to flip books or sell books, Golden Age books I have at a profit, and you know, raise that money to get something else. So there's a constant turnover, but I think it's out of necessity. But there is a certain thrill to selling a Golden Age book that's rare. That you don't see very often. There's sort of a thrill to selling it, just like there is an excitement to buying it as well. It's not like flipping something that's common. If you have something rare that offer for sale and you get a good price on it, you sell one book for $3,000 and somebody really wants it. It's a different feeling than selling like a Hulk 181 or something. It's because there's a lot of
the short answer is you're not going to have a very big Golden Age collection unless you're willing to get rid of books along the way.
Right. Exactly. Or you're
I'm down to like 200 books in my collection. I got 4 empty long boxes here, slab size boxes. I got 4 empty ones, and I don't have enough books to even fill any of them.
So one of the other discussion, it's one of the, I guess if you're not married to the collection, but at the same point in time, I'm not married to. I'm married to the ones I want to be. I've limited to what I collect. It doesn't seem, but I'm thinning the herd, so to speak. But I'm narrowing and kind of focusing in on less books, more less accumulating, more distributing and saving. So it's been fun, getting more graded right now because I'm done with my Silver Age. My Golden Age, it's not something I'm in a rush to get. They'll be there, and I know which books I need. There are a few I missed out on a board post the other day. I missed out on one really because I had the other one, and it wasn't that much better than a book I've seen for a little less of the price. And I've already seen that exact book twice in the past year, and it's been up both times. And I've still seen better deals on that book live at cons, and I know I can get one at a con. So it's just keep going to cons is everything. Cons are the best deal. There's no doubt about it. I'm never going to say that eBay's better. I'm never going to, I hear it from everybody here that eBay's great. And I agree with you that eBay's fun. But if you want to know the best deals you're going to get, it's cash in hand at a con, hands down. Negotiating hands down at a con, because you can walk away. And if there's two of those books in that arena, and that's sometimes what we're dealing with, there's two of these books in that whole arena. One of them is going to be yours, and you're just going to get the best deal you can get at that moment. And you'll get it.
Cons, I think you're probably right, because I've been to 2 cons since I've been in the golden age, and both times I've scored good books at good deals. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I just don't have enough con experience yet as a golden age collector, but
yeah, I think, and I will tell you how I learned from making mistakes. Buying the first, oh my God, it's here, bang, I'll take it, and then going down later, and I said, I just paid what? And then
another good tip for cons with Golden Age is you see that modern book and it's $2,000. The guy's going to want $2,000 for it. You see that Golden Age book for $2,000, it's always negotiable.
Yeah, unless it's a big key. I mean,
that's a big key, but they're much more willing to work on price with Golden Age stuff.
Especially because a lot of us are looking for fillers and not necessarily the mega. We're not looking to buy a Black Cat 50 right now. Sorry, yes, I'm not.
Well, I hope somebody does, because I've got one if anybody wants.
But if it's one of those things where you say, where you find out a guy who I just got a run. They're not priced yet. That's a good seller's technique. Just tell me what you think I should pay for this stuff. They sometimes have had those books for 3 months. They say the same thing over and over again. I've seen them go from con to con, and it's great. Same story. I just haven't got a chance to look at them. I don't know what's in there. Just let me know what you think. That's always good too. And I think it's a great move because it says, okay, here it is. You start out with your low ball bid, let him come back at you, and then you just start negotiating. It says, I can do cash right now, walk away, whatever you want to do. Or I'm interested in for these 4 and get your buddy and link over. It's so many ways you can manipulate at a con that doesn't work in the online. So I'm going to say right now, one of the best experiences if you're ever going to do the con, if you're going to get into the Golden Age, is experience it live and in person first. Know what you're getting into, because Golden Age books are frail and they fall apart easily. And going through the mail sometimes gets a little rough too, So always good right there. Unrecognizable restoration. Yeah, exactly. Well, great thing, great topic we were going to do when Knights was going to come back. But one of the big things we were going to talk about, some of the negative things about collecting in the Golden Age we want to talk about. And unrecognizable restoration has always been there. Unrecognizable marrying of pages, unrecognizable centerfold detachment because you didn't open the book, unrecognizable married back cover because you didn't know what the back of obviously this book I'd know what the back was, but the back of
learn how to draw, right?
Yeah, learn how to draw. That's Marvel. The back of a EC book would look like at that time, and it's not. I mean, that's always one of those things that you got to be careful of. Color restoration is what it is.
Yeah, restoration
and modern. Actually, I see more color touch now. The number 1 books I see color touch on, I don't know Spider-Man's now, but I would not be buying any early Spider-Man that aren't.
That's why there's such a huge difference in price between raw Golden Age books and slab Golden Age books. It's not just because it's a guaranteed grade; it's because of that resto check.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I have one resto that even says on there it's not color touch. The resto is the staple replacement, but because it was a 1 staple book and they put a second one in it. So, and I'm kind of ticked that it's on there because it's a SOTY book too. Kind of a dick move.
If you are at a con though, or you have an opportunity to look at a book in hand, I mean, number 1, it's always good to have a trustworthy dealer. That helps, especially if it's online. But if you have a book in hand, The only resto that I feel is difficult if you have even a little experience with it is trimming. And trimming is pretty rare on most of the Golden Age books in the categories I collect. It's much more common on like the Action Comics or the Tex or like Timely's, the bigger stuff at the time. It seems like there's more trimming on those. I don't think I've ever, I'm trying to think if I've ever had a pre-code hard book I bought that has looked at and suspected.
I mean, the worst place for it is books, the Marvel books with Marvel chipping. I mean, like the early
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
I mean, that stuff that you see
The color touches
all the time.
is easy to detect, and staple replacement, you have to look. If you don't look at the staples closely, you'll miss it. But you can catch. I got a book from a dealer that I trust that had staples replaced. I think I did a video on it. And if once you look at the staples, it was pretty obvious. Married stuff, married pieces are a little tougher because a lot of times what they'll do is if the staple placement on like a married centerfold, if that centerfold staple placement is close to your book staple placement, they can trim it a little bit. It's a little hard to tell, but you're not going to run into too many pre-code hard books with great pieces. Now, if you're into Timely's and Action Comics and stuff like that, it's a bigger issue. Yeah, I mean, resto, it's not. You shouldn't be scared of getting the Golden Age because you could get resto. You shouldn't be scared away from buying raw books because of resto. The biggest problem I have with buying raw books is if I don't have good enough pictures or I don't look at it closely enough to judge the grade, there's defects that you may have missed that make it not the grade you think it is. That's my biggest problem with raw books. But the resto, if I'm buying online, you can tell from a good enough selection of pictures if there's resto for the most part. If you're looking at it in hand, I feel very comfortable buying a raw Golden Age book and knowing there's no resto. I'm always paranoid about trimming. That's just how I am all the time. I think every book ever is trimmed. I'm super paranoid about it.
You'd have hated by those early, those X-Men Claremont issues, the early ones. Those trimmed. I've heard that's X-Men's are some of the most X-Men's and Silver Age books of Marvel, but specifically it was the X-Men's back when I was, kind of hearing about everything about the trimming of books. There was like a bunch of collections that were just trim.
Yeah, Golden Age books that, like, normally when I'm buying books, I don't pull them out and flip through them, but almost every Golden Age book has at least one coupon or clip somewhere in it.
Yeah, I mean, I usually flip through every raw Golden Age book I look at. I will flip through it just to see there's nothing missing. And, you can do a page count pretty quick because the certain publishers during certain eras, all their books had the same number of pages. 36 pages, 48 pages. There's not that.
They always say it on the cover.
Yeah, I mean, you know how many pages a Fiction House book from the 40s is going to have. It's easy to flip through and read it. And, you can usually look at it pretty quickly and flip through it within 3 minutes and tell whether it's restored or has any issues.
Yeah.
Color touch is so easy to.
You could just turn the first page over and say, "Yep, we're good. We don't have any."
Yeah. And then do page count. Make sure the centerfold's attached. Check out the staples a little close. Make sure they're not modern staples. Golden Age staples, when they're folded on the inside, they're flat. The modern staples are crimped on the inside. So these silver staples like here placed. If they're flat, they're probably not, but they still could be. But Golden Age staples are bigger and they're folded down flat.
Right. And some of them only have one. Like this year when they used only one staple on it. This is a jumbo from 1943.
Well, I was just going to say that's usually in the World War II years that they only use one staple.
1943.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of metals.
Very early Sheena. Actually, this is a major Sheena story. But you can see on the back where the staple is. There's only one staple on it. Slight little rust on it, but it's in great condition for the book. But you should
expect rust these days, and especially if you see no rust and you see rust stains on the page.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a book I have.
There's a very, very slight rust, but I'm glad it's there because it matches just fine. And then you have to know how many pages are inside, which what there is here. Centerfold, you always check. When you're playing with these books and you're going through it. One of the reasons I've had this one out is this is on my list of my golden ages to give it one more press. Give it a press because it's never been pressed, but other than just crushed, get it pressed and cleaned by Paul. You'll be getting some of these fiction houses on my next CGC, my first CGC Golden Age submission, because I did never submit my Golden Age CGC, as I never really wanted to know. I didn't consider it one of those things I was going to have to ever. I used to think CGC and slabbing was only for selling, and a year into this YouTube, not yet a year, 8 months into this YouTube, I kind of changed my view on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, slabbing is good for selling. Slabbing is good for.
It smells real good.
Slabbing is much different for Golden Age than for moderns. I mean, for moderns, you want the high grade 9/8. There's a lot of signature series stuff, sketches, stuff like that. You want certified. There's a 9/8 versus a 9/6, huge price difference. The Golden Age, you want to preserve these books. You want to ensure there's no resto. Buying, selling, preserving, protecting is where it's at for slabs in the Golden Age, and that's why most Golden Age collectors are cool with slabs. I think when you get into Silver Age and Bronze Age, you find a lot of the old school collectors that like raw books. There's not a whole lot, other than Knights of Old, really, the Golden Age collectors that don't like slabs that much.
We got Old Man Knights in there, so
he understands the utility of it because he's used it for specific reasons too to get stuff slabbed. But
I was looking through one of my old comic book marketplaces the other day, and it was right when CGC first started, and they were talking to Steve Borak, and he's like, well, people are never going to send anything in to get slabbed unless they think it's going to get a 9.0 or above. And I'm like, man, how times have changed.
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen, like with the jumbos, a lot of the best stuff might be on the cover, but might be on the inside. So my things on the slabbing was like the first appearance of Dracula, Eerie 17, I think, 47, one of those two numbers. First Dracula ever in comics. So that art inside is so ridiculously good that I'm going to slab it anyway and be like, I need to find and I found where they did reprint it in an Eerie volume years later that I'm going to pick up for like $25 so I can have both,
I buy hardcovers to read all the art. And it's really cool. I mean, a lot of people rag on the stories and some of the stuff. Some of the stories are terrible. Some are cool. They're all like little mysteries or Twilight Zone type things. They all have a nice twist at the end. The art is really good. What I really dig is exploring in the panel layouts. They experimented with some cool panel layouts. There's some interesting stuff that they were doing back then. Some of the artists, really cool slanted perspectives, choppy panel layouts. It's not all just 6-8 panel type stuff. So these books are really good, hardcover reprints of Golden Age stuff.
Nice.
They've got a bunch of those stuff down at the Half Price Books near me, those hardcover collections.
Yeah, they're really good, and especially if you're into like the stuff I'm into, pre-code horror, they pretty much, you can find tons of pre-code horror reprints and hardcover. Super too. You can find Action Comics, Tex.
There are
J type.
I kind of like. It's kind of like one of the weird things I ended up doing was now that because Kanga was one of those that was redone in a reprint in the 50s. And not to knock 50s, that seems like a lot of money, but no, they're not. They're like $5, $10 because they're reprints. Well, I'll buy that because that still has the book feel, and buy the original, get the original slab for the glorious cover, the elephant, the storyline, and then the more and more I got into the elephant covers, more and more I started reading the stories inside these jumbos, and it's only one really good Sheena story sometimes, and a lot of times you get. Because it's a jumbo, you've got some stuff from Ghost, you got some stuff from a Stuart Taylor, whoever this guy is, but you get all these famous artists that are inside Baker, and not this book because this is pre-Baker, but then you got the Spies in Action, you get all the old fiction house from Wing, so you get the Wing story, you get the Ranger story. Jumbo is just a convolution of Jungle, Wings in there, but Jumbo always featured Jungle because Jungle Books were selling better because of the TNA.
Yeah.
Well, but it was. So the Jungle covers sold more, so they put Jumbo always had Jungle covers, but they're not just, they're action, adventure, mystery. That was the big thing, you know, and that's exactly what they do. So
Yeah, I mean, I like buying. Look, I prefer slabs. For all my books are either slabbed or not yet slabbed. But if I buy a slab, I never crack it out unless I'm getting resub it or something. But I like the raw books I buy because I read them and I enjoy them once, maybe twice, and then I'll get them slabbed. To me, these things have become so collectible and fragile, and they're like collectible art that I don't want to handle them because the value exceeds the reading enjoyment of them. And I'm mainly collecting as an art collector. I consider this an art collection, not a book reading collection. So, yeah, I love reading the raw books I have. I read them once, and then I get them slabbed, and that's it.
that's exactly what my plan is.
More often than reading the raws I have, I will crack open my hardcovers, and I'll sit in my comic room here, crack open a hardcover, and read through Golden Age stuff. And I don't have to worry about getting oil on the pages, or it's a hardcover reprint, and I don't care. And that's how I enjoy the reading. The comics themselves are too collectible, too fragile, and too hard to find.
Yeah,
I slap them so they're protected and preserved, and that's it.
yeah, I was taking a few Golden Ages and putting them back in there. Mom putting one, doing one at a time over here. One great thing here, Stephen Oates brought up the fact, what about the Atomic Age of the Golden Age? That's actually what a lot of us talk about here. The Golden Age we have is the Golden Age and the Atomic Age. I do like the name Atomic Age. It is a totally different era of books. I've had this discussion on here. It's art was better. Everything was better. I mean, Famous Funnies, I guess, would be the start around there. You had the Action Comics, and then, then it was just the Famous Funnies and stuff. But, yep, the Atomic Age came out, and that's when the true Golden Age of comics, probably the better books, in my opinion, are. No offense, but this is obviously the early part. This is 43, but I still like this. But 45 stuff, obviously, you have a PCH collector here. PCH didn't start until 50, right? 49, 50 would be.
There were some precursors in like 47, 48, 49, but mostly it's 1950 to 1954.
You can break the Golden Age into so many different eras. I mean, like when I was collecting back in the 90s, we always talked about the Golden Age, which was pretty much the hero stuff, then the Atomic Age, then and then like after the pre-code stuff, and then after that, most people called it the pre-hero days. Stuff like the early Strange Tales, the Tales to Astonish.
Yeah, I mean, I break it down. It's not like there's a hard line definition. I break it down like Golden Age is, for me, Golden Age is like 1933. I know it's 38 because Action Comics won, but I'm just saying for me, I say 1933 was when the first like monthly comic book was published, I think. So 33 to 54 to the Comics Code is the Golden Age. Now within that, you have smaller genres. There's a pre-code horror, which is essentially 50 to 54. There's the main Golden Age, which is 38 to, I don't even think for me, it would go to 54. I think it's like 38 to 49 is like rock solid middle Golden Age stuff.
To me, it's 38 to World War II ending.
See, like when
38 to 45, yeah.
When I worked at the comic book store, it was different. Now people do it more by what the books cost or by certain years.
To me, it's always going to be,
for
Flash, Showcase.
Yep. Golden Age was Action #1. Silver Age started with Showcase 4, and Bronze Age started with Conan #1.
Yeah, I always said Conan 1. I got yelled at for that.
I always say ASM 121 for Bronze. Around the same time as Conan.
Stacy?
Yes.
Yeah, ASM 121 is 1970. Conan's 1970.
Yeah.
But after you get past this Golden Age, it's pretty easy because Silver Age is the 60s, Bronze Age is the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. They try to be cute.
Yeah, but before that, for me, Atomic Age is related to the 1945 where we dropped the atomic bomb.
45 to 56 is what I say.
And it's like from the use of the atom bomb in 1945 through really where the space race started picking up in 59, 58, 59, like Sputnik era. So from end of World War II to like Sputnik is Atom Age for me. So most of the 50s, but there's a lot of overlap in the early eras. When you get into like Silver.
I knew TJ was going to bring up Green Lantern 76. The Neil Adams Green Arrow Green Lantern has always been the DC one. And I was going to say that book is definitely, I always thought the first Bronze, but that was, I think it was January of 71 or December of 70. But
I guess 121 and 122 were before the Green Lantern 76.
But see, I think everybody, because we use DC, I hate to say it, but I stick, DC starts the Atomic, DC starts the Atomic. There's no book that starts the Atomic Age. You could say it's, there is no book.
Yeah, there's not.
There isn't one,
But for Silver, I think Tech 225 came before Showcase 4, didn't it?
Check Showcase 4.
First Martian Manhunter. I think that. I mean, I always.
I think first Silver Age flat, first Barry Allen.
Yeah, I always think Tech 225 for me starts the Silver Age. I think they're in the same year, but a couple months apart.
The funny thing is,
I make an argument for 225 now, but when they came out, Showcase 4 it dropped like a bomb. I mean, everybody noticed.
Popular until like the.
Well, I like to take the contrarian view, Paul, as much as possible.
Well, like I said, make a case for it now because it's 225 is a much bigger book, but back then it was just another detective book.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for everybody. Great stuff here in the chat and everything else. Once again, we have a great time on the show here talking about the Golden Age and stuff like that. Next week we'll have hopefully Knights of Old will be back. He's been working hard and helping out in the chat, and we appreciate that. And thanks everybody for joining in the chat again. I'm not gonna go through everybody again. But Bub's Comics, good to have you here. Blasted to Stash It. Thanks for being here. So when I said Stephen Oates and everything else, Caleb, good. Thank you for being here. And thank you all for being a friend. And next week, I won't be here, so Paul, you'll have to run it. I'm going to be on vacation next week, and I fly in this time, so can't really do much about it. So anyway, tomorrow night I've got we'll be on the Unlimited crew. Hopefully a fun show and exciting. As always, we have a good time on that one. Thursday, reviewing Swamp Thing was a hell of an episode last time. What do you think, Paul? It was a good Swamp Thing episode there. And Friday,
I haven't caught up yet.
Doing off the rails. So
I picked up a Swamp Thing related book. Got today. You guys? Jeez, the one thing that you got. It's great. I forgot about it too. All right, so I got 2 recent pickups, and neither one is Golden Age, but I'll show them off just for the hell of it because people like to see new books.
I love this book.
I picked up this one first. I picked up Spectacular Spider-Man 27, first Frank Miller Daredevil. This is a 9.4 to 9.6 copy, so really nice to get that. It is not the J.C. Penney reprint. I think they're the ones that did the reprint, but and then I picked up this one. And I got it in the mail today, and it's House of Secrets 92, obviously. I think it's like a 6.0, pretty decent copy. And I got it for a good price, so I'm going to press it, slab it, and maybe flip it, maybe keep it for a while. I'm not sure, but it was a good deal, so I grabbed it. So, yeah. Really
the key with that one, and I'll show you why I love mine over why I would turn down 8s that had, I have one major flaw, which is right down here. Not major, but it's just got bends in the bottom corner. But the picture is centered perfectly, and look at the shine on the coloring on Louise Simonson. Yeah, that's Walt Simonson's wife. For those who don't know.
Yeah, that's a good copy.
It's actually funny thing is it would grade a lot better without this brown line here in the back. It's got a tan line in the last 4 pages of the book. It looks like something was put in the back of it, like a smaller bag and board, and it was kept out because it looks like it's all white here, and it's on the first couple of pages there. But other than that, front ways or presenting, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, looks good. That's mainly the reason I grabbed this. The price was good, but this one is centered nicely. and good color. And the only defects, there's a little tear down here in the corner still attached.
That's what yeah, same thing right here.
And then it's got a little bit of a rub down here on the bottom of the spine, but it's not torn, it's just rubbed. And there's a couple spine breaks, but this rub and this corner with this tear is really it. And it's otherwise really solid colors, nicely centered, really solid book. So I think, I wouldn't be surprised to see this hit a 7.
That'd be great. I wish you the best on that one. It's one of the most fun books ever to get back rated. Because, if you know the story, I paid raw, fine, minus for this, and I came back a 7.5.
Yeah, nice. I think I paid for mine probably VG plus range is what I paid for this. I think I paid basically what 4.5s are going for, and it's a solid 6. And I would not be surprised to see 6.5, 7 is maybe
Nice.
6 or 6.5 is solid. And it's a book I've wanted for a while, and I might flip it. I might keep it. I know Bub's only giving me 6 days because he knows I'll have to flip books. But I'm definitely going to get it slabbed first, Bub. So it's not going anywhere in 6 days. It's going to be a couple.
It was one of those.
In 6 days, though.
When I got that book back from CGC, and I kept it quiet, and I talked to about 3 people in there when I got it back, and you see the grade it got. I mean, the color pages being cream, I get it because of the last 4 pages. I didn't care. It was more about the cover, saying I've never seen a cover that's centered. And even Rick's flat out said, he goes, that book's, that's why he's selling his for so much more. He's selling his and using the fact that they don't center it that well. I mean, it's perfectly centered. What I mean by that, if you don't know the book here, there's a white line here that runs down here. If you can see just the trace of it here, and it doesn't show over, and it's perfect there throughout, and it doesn't happen often because it's like almost like a ASM 129. The publisher, they're always off center. It's just one of those tough.
Well, mine's off centered a little bit. The white line is perfect here. As you go up, it starts to show just a little at the top. So pretty good.
How much of the bat is of the top part of the bat? Does it curve all the way up?
What do you mean?
On the House of Secrets logo?
Oh, how much is visible?
Yeah, if it gets the full curve, yeah, you've got a good
full curve. It's not cut off, and I've got the square spacing, up in the corner.
You should have about I looked at the original art of it to see what the space of the signature was to the bottom, and it's about a good. Let me see what you got down there.
On the bottom.
On the bottom, on the vanity, yeah. Yeah, you got good spacing on that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And the spacing on the emblem here is just
That's a beautiful book. That is really nice. You're going to have a good time with that.
And you can see it's straight across, too. So, yeah, it's a nice copy. I mean, other than this.
That's what everybody's going for in that book now, is good cover.
Here, it's still attached, but you can see the tear. So that's the biggest defect. And then there's a little rub you can see down here. But other than that, those are the 2 main defects. And there's, the spine has a couple breaks on it, but it's really not bad. So yeah, 6.5. It's a nice copy, man. I think the pages are off. The pages are off white to white. They're good. Really bright.
Yeah, it's one of the. It's great. Overall, the book is such a great book to own, and it's an iconic book. Congrats. I love that it's Louise Simonson too.
Thanks. This is something I'm more excited to read, though. Surprisingly, I'm going to read this tonight. I just got both of these, so I'm going to read some Frank Miller first Daredevil stuff first, and then I'm going to read the House of Secrets.
Nice.
I really like Frank Miller stuff, though, and this is his first art on Daredevil. I've had this book before a couple times, and I enjoyed it, so I think I already know how much I like it, which is why I want to read that first, but whatever.
Very cool.
I'm going to read both of these, and then I'm going to slab both. Definitely selling the Spectacular 27, probably selling the House of Secrets, but maybe not. I like it. I mean, I'm trying to get my Bronze Age Bernie Wrightson stuff going better, too. So.
Yeah, if you're a Wrightson fan, you've got 7 or 8 books that you're going to have to get. And
for the Golden Age stuff I collect, I can pick up a high grade House of Secrets 92.
Oh yeah, Yeah.
I mean, I can get an 8.0 or an 8.5 of that as the same price I'm buying some of this other crap Golden Age stuff in 2.5s and 3s. You know what I mean? I can get a high grade. So
I think
6.5
it's better
not necessarily, but I might.
yeah. To me, it's the best value.
I mean, it depends how fast that book keeps going up. You know what I mean? By next year, 8.5s might be $5,000, $6,000. Who knows?
Good having real comic book talk here as well. All right, everybody, we're going to be heading out here. Thanks again. Thank you, Paul. Anything new for you?
Nope.
All right.
I'm working on some stuff, but
Yeah, I'm trying to get Paul to do more of his artist series. Please check out his artist series. It's one of my favorite things he does, and one day I'll get him to do more of that here. But very cool. Thank you all for being a friend. I will see you all tomorrow night on Unlimited. Talk to you later. Wait.